All right. David, if you could go ahead and get us started on the audio. We good? Awesome. So, thank you everyone for coming, all the presenters being here. Thank you, David Woody, John McCormick, the catering in the back as well. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the third annual Multicultural Gala. After a year hiatus of not having it last year, we are excited to bring this to you tonight. And so, to start us off, we have Dr. Kelly Rainey is going to be our keynote speaker, and I'm going to invite her up here now.
All right. Well, good evening. It is a pleasure to be here. One thing that I always say to people when I come back to campus, that no matter what generation of alum you are, and if you're current student, faculty member, staff member, whenever you come onto this campus, you always just know this is a place that you're supposed to be. I remember when I first came to Lynchburg, making my decision about which college I was going to go to. And I drove onto campus with my mother. We walked around, and I was asked the question, okay, well, what are you deciding? And I was like, yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, it's a great place. I often say, too, it's about the relationships that you build here. Not only with your friends, your new friends, people you maybe came with, but the faculty, the staff. It's those relationships that help you to grow, to succeed. Even past graduation, you stay connected. So when Annette called me and she said, hey, I got a favor. And I was like, of course, I'll come. I have no problem coming because it's definitely one of those things when you build a relationship here with campus and those individuals, you definitely want to stay connected. And so you're always happy to come back. You're always happy to say, okay, here's an event I can come to, homecoming. You look forward to not just being with people that you were in school with, but really just being home. And so definitely I was excited when Annette asked would I come and be the speaker for this event, and of course I was very excited to do so. And I often laughed. I even told my mom, Annette called me, and she was like, it's amazing how Annette remembers all those people and all their names and everything about them. And I was like, she always has. And so definitely I look forward to doing anything that has a connection with the Multicultural Office, with the Office of Equity and Inclusion, because they've always given to me a lot. And so I always want to give back, just like I know a number of you here want to, and you do so quite often. So thank you. Thanks, Annette, for thinking of me. And again, I'm very excited to be here. Again, I want to show my appreciation to our president, who I have the pleasure of seeing face to face. It's amazing. You have so many Zoom calls with people, and it's like, did I actually ever meet that person? I don't think so. Same thing with Dr. Canada. I walked in the door, and I was like, I don't think we actually physically ever met. But I feel like I've known you for years, and I have, just via Zoom. So, but it is definitely a pleasure to see you. I am a member of the class of 1999. I'm very proud to be so. I know I look young, and I wear it proudly. I also am a member of the Lynchburg Alumni Board, and that's also what I look forward to giving back, not only with my various different alum, but also to be able to connect back with the students. And so again, it is not only my privilege and my honor, but truly my pleasure to be here with you. So when I heard about the theme for today's event and the imagery of think about the 1920s, think about the roaring 20s, that jazz, the music, think about just all that happened during that time period, but bring it forward to this decade. And I was like, I get it. I do get it, because it does make sense that you have to think about what's happened in the past and how it also kind of has that echo effect down in years and decades and bringing it forward to the 2020s. And so definitely I want to kind of paint some pictures with you as I talk through some conversation for today for this keynote address. And so like I did give some time, and I wanted to reflect back on the 1920s. And we know that it was a time of growth. It was a time of culture, music, fashion, and it was also an era of dramatic shifts. It was a wave of changes that were happening during that time period. And we experienced a lot. When you peel back some of the layers in the 1920s, there are some very unnerving parallels as well to this decade. Yes, the 1920s was an exciting social change time period, but it was also, it carried forward a lot of deep divisions amongst various different groups. And for many Americans, the growth of cities, the rise of consumer culture, the upsurge of mass entertainment, and then the so-called revolution of morals and manners, they really represented a liberation from what America was used to, that Victorian time period. And you had a lot of sexual norms and gender roles and different hairstyles, and of course the dress was a big part of it too. But for many, the United States seemed to be changing in some ways that were very undesirable. You had cultural civil war that you were also being impacted by: immigration, evolution, KKK, women's roles, and then of course race. Some of that sound kind of familiar. So when we think too about the 1920s, the nickname, the roaring 1920s, you heard a lot about jazz erupting. That was really becoming a part of the main cultural mainstream. And we were impacted by artists such as Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong and Ma Rainey, trust me, no Ken, and Josephine Baker. So many of those individuals, yes, they were powerful in their music, but think about their messages that they were sending. A lot had to do with that social change piece. And then technology. We think about technology really being a boom in the 2020s, but really that was also a technology revolution during that time period, where you're talking about cars and radios and telephones. They were connecting people across the miles, whereas before it was just those that were right around your door. And then it was also this decade of old America versus new America, and where we had the young generation actually taking control, and they were challenging those traditional taboos. And that was also a time period where we were dealing with a lot of hate. It was where we had bitter cultural conflicts, we had religious disputes, we had anti-immigration laws, we had social demographic concerns. And when we started seeing some things that were also happening, we saw some inequities when it came to housing. We saw definitely a lot of concern around the health of America. And I want to just quickly remind you as well that there was a pandemic that happened over about 100 plus years ago, and that was still being felt in the 1920s. It really didn't end until the start of 1920, and the repercussion of that happened over and over again. So yeah, I had to take some time to just think back, what happened during the 1920s? And if we now fast forward 100 years into this decade, some things still feel eerily similar. We're still facing and we're still living within a major health pandemic. When it comes to culture, America still is very polarized, and you have a lot going on when it comes to race relations and how it has strained a number of us across our various different states, within our local areas, and even with the person next door to us. And then, of course, there are concerns when it comes to just how our governments are operating, and that's more than just a federal level. What about our states, our local governments? And that, when you start to kind of think about all of that, we start feeling this sense that 2020, yeah, it's been a great decade. When we first kicked off, all of us got really excited about that term, 2020. You know, some of us were like, we're entering in something new. But what we found ourselves several months later, we were sitting in this darkness. We were sitting in negative space, and we were carrying it around with us. It was easy for us to sit in that darkness on many occasions. It was easy for us to be surrounded by it, because when you turned on your TV, you saw a lot about hate and destruction. When you picked up your phone, you started hearing and seeing images of sickness, of despair, of death. And so that darkness, it fell on us. And it's hard sometimes for us to pull back from that. But just like the 1920s, this truly is a decade of change, where we can own it and we can build it with hope. And as Isaiah 9:2 reads, the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. So we have to proclaim it. We have to own this decade to be able to say, I'm not going to sit in that darkness. I'm not going to let the light be so far away that we can't reach it. How can we then change this into an opportunity of positive change, an opportunity where we can actually move forward with prosperity as well as perseverance? So I talk often with different students that I've worked with. My background's in higher education, went on because Lynchburg gave me that ambition to be able to do some of the same work that was done with me. And I raise the question now to you: how do we drive and support that type of change? How do we lead and model that way towards social change? How do we ignite our own individual passions and perseverance to create great prosperity for not just ourselves, but all that we're connected to and those that we will meet along the way? one thing that I learned in my own education is about not only just social change, but how to even model that. And one of the models that I've used in my work with students, but even in my own personal life, is around the social change model. So I wanted to at least share some of that with you so that there's maybe some nuggets, a part of that you can use as you move forward. Now, the emphasis about that model is about understanding of self and others so that you can really create a community of change. I think Lynchburg knows that very well because they have always done that work. You see that in the classroom, you see that outside of the classroom, you see that in the leaders that build this institution for its students, and you see this in the students as they move on and go on to greater things. It's less about being a leader with a title. It's more about being able to have leadership in your community. It's about inclusivity. It's about designing and enhancing our communities for building leadership qualities in all of our people. You don't have to have a title. You don't have to have a fancy position to be able to do this work because it's based on values of equity, of social justice, of self-knowledge, of personal empowerment, collaboration, citizenship, and of course, service. Now, wouldn't you agree that those are all the different values that we need today? So you're probably saying, Kelly, yeah, that sounds great. I love the sound of social change, but what am I supposed to do with that? Where do you want me to start? Well, I want to at least give you several key nuggets to think about, because there's something within the social change model that will give you at least a moment to say, I think I can connect with that. I think I can do something about that. And there's three simple areas. One is to focus on your individual values. That's really taking time to reflect about yourself. Other about group values. There are many things that we're actively involved in, whether it's here at Lynchburg or even beyond in our other communities. And then community and social values, being able to do something greater in the world. When we think about the individual values, there's three key things. There's consciousness of self, congruence, and then commitment. When you think about your consciousness of self, take time to reflect and do your own homework. What are your own beliefs, your values, your attitudes, your emotions? What motivates you? Get in sync with that. Take time to reflect on that. And as you do that, congruence comes along because you're following where you're thinking, you're feeling, and you're behaving with consistency. That how you act, you're modeling that way so that people see your genuineness and your authenticity and the honesty that you embody. And your commitment is about motivating, having that motivating energy that drives you to service. When you align that with your consciousness of self and then also your congruency, you're able to walk your true path. When you think about being within a group and the group values, there's three additional: collaboration, common purpose, and one of my favorites is the controversy with civility. Now, of course, with collaboration, working with others to a common effort, it really is a part of the cornerstone of that value, meaning that when you come together, you're empowering others as well as yourself around trust. If you trust each other, you're able to do some powerful things, and you're able to have stronger collaboration. Common purpose really means about working with shared aims and values. It's about facilitating the group's ability to engage in collective analysis on the issues that you want to address together. And that controversy with civility, it really is about the two fundamental realities. There are different views that we all have. We always will have those different views. Everybody will have different views, and that is okay. And those differences must be aired, but with civility. Civility is about that respect that you give to that other person based on their various different views. But you can come together, you can exercise conversation to be able to respect each other and to still have healthful and strong conflict that is okay to have. But it's about that respect and be able to listen to one another in order to be able to come together to do something. And then, of course, that last piece, to be able to make some effort around community and society, about citizenship. And that's really a process. We think of it as a thing, but it's really about a process where you're combining that individual and that collaborative group thinking so that you can connect in the community level. To be a good citizen really is about the work that you put into positive change and how you, on behalf of others, are doing things to really recognize that the community can grow when you bring all those various things together. So when you think about those elements in motion, those 7 different C's that you just heard about, change can really be certain. But it can only happen when we start taking into account where we stand and recognizing where we want to go. Again, this really can be a decade of change, but we do have to be very purposeful about it. And if you think about it for a moment, change will happen. It's a question of whether it's going to be negative or if it's going to be positive. And if you want it to go in that positive direction, then you have to be more proactive in making it happen. Quick story for you to kind of help you think, okay, you said those different 7 C's, they sound good. Yeah, something really did radiate, come to my attention. But I still need to know what to do, or where do I start? So back in 2007, I was diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's a form of blood cancer. Underwent chemotherapy for several months and had every side effect under the sun. It was a blast. I had a great time. But, you know, that was several years ago. And I was talking to a friend recently. She called just to do the check-in. You know how we just check in on each other these days just to make sure everybody's doing well. And we were just talking, catching up, and she said, Kelly, you always appear so strong. You know, I always admire that about you. And I remember when you were sick. Do you ever think about those days? Do you ever kind of reflect on them and how they may impact you even now? And I actually paused for a moment before I responded to her, not because I didn't like her question. I was actually surprised. I was actually surprised that she asked me, because a lot of times we shy away from those types of conversations with people. We usually don't talk about things that are bad or something that happened that was a little negative. We don't do it on purpose, but what we do oftentimes is, that was bad. I'm going to get past that by not talking about it or even acting like it didn't happen. And we can do that too with what we're going through right now. We can ignore what has happened, what is happening, just like some things were back in 1920s. We ignored some of those things. And I was talking to her about, I do think about those days. Time and time again, if I hear something on the news that someone's sick or someone has died from cancer, if I end up talking to someone who calls me and they're asking for some advice, or if I know a good friend that's battling or has a family member that's battling cancer, I do want to share my own experience with them because it may help them. As I mentioned, I went through every side effect, which it became actually kind of a little joke with my doctor, because he was like, wow, I've never had somebody like this that actually went through every side effect. But it was almost like a trial and effort. And I remember saying, gosh, I wish I had someone I could have talked to that could have shared some insight with me, and I might not have had so many different things that I was trying that didn't work. But I remember saying, but I'm gonna tell the next person. And I also told her that there was one key lesson that I learned during that whole time period, was that I had to take it a day at a time. That if I looked too far ahead, or I counted that I still had about 8 different rounds to go through of chemo, that was just too big. It was too bulky. It became overwhelming to think in that direction. So I had to take it a day at a time. I had to make it through that day. And that day I could see, this is what I needed to work on. This is what I could actually digest and be able to handle that particular day. And each day I did that. And then when I looked back at my last chemo treatment, and I thought back to all of those different sessions, I was like, wow, I actually made it through. My nurse even said, wow, you made it through. Didn't know how to feel about that. But I was like, you know, Taking it a day at a time sometimes is actually what we need to do. When things seem too big, you may have to take it in bites to be able to see the small wins, to be able to move forward. So back to social change. Where can you start? What can you do now? Why don't you take time to just acknowledge what's going on and see how you feel about it? Come to a moment where you are able to digest it, and once again, going back to that consciousness of self, where do you feel connected to that? And then talk to people. Don't ignore it. Don't wait for it to go away. I often hear people talk about, I can't wait to get back to normal. Is there really a normal? I always use the example of when you go to the airport, if you remember after 9/11, when you were going through TSA, you're like, gosh, I can't wait till this is over. We still going through TSA. But talk with others about it. Share your own personal stories, your own struggle, and then build that community of support with other people. And if you think things seem too big right now, if things just seem too much, take it in bites. Take it one day at a time and see, what can I do for this day? What can I build this day? Who can I pick up along the way and take with me for this day? And then when you look back, you'll see how far you actually did come, and you will see that difference that you made. I'll leave you with this. I asked one of my good friends, one of my classmates, D. Brown. Some of you probably know him. I understand he adjuncts here. He serves as a faculty member. So proud. I asked him, can you write me an inspirational piece for this moment? I feel like we are at a moment where we all need some inspiration. I usually call them an amen moment. And if you don't have a connection with D. Brown, definitely I encourage you to find him on social media. He always, when you need it, he drops some nugget of inspiration. And you're like, that's what I needed at that particular moment. So I would encourage you to do so, because over the last 12, 13 months, I think we all needed some inspiration along the way when those days got rough and you just needed something. Sometimes you just needed to lean on somebody else's words. And so I asked Dee if he wouldn't mind just crafting something for this occasion. And as always, Dee never disappoints. I would say this is a great piece that if Manette, you could just use it in the office in some way, shape, or form, I think you would love to do so. It's very inspirational. It's going to happen for us, without a doubt. That goal we're working on, that dream we're striving for, that victory we've been sacrificing for will come to pass. It is guaranteed as long as we make a personal decision not to quit, as long as we make a declaration not to lose faith, as long as we promise that we will persevere. There's a quote that reads, "Search and you shall find." And this is true. But that doesn't mean we search one time, a couple of times, or until we get tired. We search until we find. Remember, our desires are out there waiting for us, and everything we desire is depending on how long we are willing to persevere. So keep on searching. Our desires will find us, and when victory finds us, prosperity will be ours to claim. The reason we are still standing today is a result of the choices we made not to fall yesterday. In the midst of a pandemic, through the heartache of injustice, and the never-ending corruptness of our people being murdered, we are still standing. And though we're persevered through heartless reminders that our lives hold less value, and though we've struggled to answer our oppressive pain with responses of anger, with protest, with violence, or prayer, and though we've wiped an ocean full of tears, suffering from verdicts that serves justice to everyone, just us. Justice for George Floyd has given us hope that we can still stand on those prayers. So for every obstacle we face, there's a path we will discover. For every problem we endure, there's a solution we will find. And for the injustices we suffer, if we persevere, we will not judge, but rejoice in prosperity. I want to thank you again, my Lynchburg family, for this opportunity. As always, it's a pleasure, it's an honor. It is truly a privilege to be back with you. God bless, and I wish you the remainder of the academic year a wonderful success. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Dr. Rainey. Can I have one more round of applause for Dr. Kelly Rainey, please? All right, so now let's get started with the rest of the night in the presentation of awards. And Margaret's going to take us away.
Excuse me. Hello, my name is Margaret Lamphere-Meyer, and I'm a graduate assistant for equity and inclusion, and I'm going to be presenting the Patience and Fortitude Award. During the Great Depression, the New York City mayor named the pair of marble lions that stand before the New York Public Library Patience and Fortitude after the qualities he felt were needed to get through such a difficult time. Even today, the lions serve as a source of inspiration and strength for all. This award honors a person or group who exemplifies the ideals of patience and fortitude at the University of Lynchburg, remaining strong and supportive in the times of the COVID-19 pandemic. The winner of the Patience and Fortitude Award is Lisa Geyer.
Good evening, everybody. And just want to say, Dr. that was a fabulous, fabulous speech, and talks so much to what we are part of as here at the University of Lynchburg. So thank you very much for that. So my name is Alison Morrison-Shetler. I'm the president of the University of Lynchburg, and proud and honored to be here this evening. I'm presenting the Always Becoming Award. This award honors a first-year student who shows perseverance in upholding the values of the Office of Equity and Inclusion. This student is an involving leader and is a reflection of the University of Lynchburg's vision to always becoming. You see the nominees for this award. And the winner of the Always Becoming Award is Tamara Blanks. Congratulations.
Good evening. Always consider it a privilege and an honor to stand before you, my University of Lynchburg family. So anytime I get the opportunity, I certainly take pride in it. I am Desmond Mosby, and I am the Student Employment Coordinator for the University of Lynchburg. And I will be presenting the Altruistic Hero Award. This person works selflessly behind the scenes with a positive attitude and willingness to help in whatever capacity necessary. This student has served as a pillar for the Office of Equity and Inclusion and has contributed outstanding service to the campus community. Furthermore, this person goes above and beyond to help others and is extremely dedicated to the wellness of diversity and inclusion. And as you can see, the nominees are to my right, my left, and behind me. And the winner of the Altruistic Hero Award is Rochelle Barasona.
Desmond, you were a page turner, but good evening, everyone. First, before we get started, I want to congratulate all of the nominees, and I also want to say thank you for everybody that has put time and effort into making tonight happen. So, a great event, and thank you to everybody that has taken part in that. My name is Kristen Cooper, and I am the Interim Vice President and the Dean for Student Development. And I have the privilege of awarding the Community Engagement Award. This award goes to an individual who specifically focuses their efforts to expand the concept of diversity and inclusion to impact the surrounding Lynchburg community. And you can see the 4 amazing nominees on the screen. And tonight, I'm excited to present this award to my dear colleague, Jared Kirby.
All right, I've been up here a lot today. So, as I stated at the beginning, my name is Seiya Nomura. I am the programming coordinator in the Office of Multicultural Services, which is housed in the Office of Equity and Inclusion. And I also have the privilege of presenting the Exemplary Mentor Award. As you can see, the long list of nominees is behind me, to the left of me and to the right of me, as Desmond said. Whew. This award honors a faculty or staff member who serves as a role model to the student body. This faculty or staff member is dedicated to empowering students to become leaders, encouraging integrity, and is a beacon of inspiration. And the winner of this award is someone who I have worked with closely, B.J. Kiefer. right, and now I would like to invite to the stage Malik Nowlin. He's a senior this year, and he's going to be performing saxophone for us. And he's going to be playing an excerpt from Deep Flowers by Evan Chambers. So Malik, when you're ready, you can come to the stage. All right, can I have one more round of applause for Malik Nowlin? All right, and with that, we're gonna hop in to the presentation of awards part 2, starting with Amanda McGovern.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda McGovern, and I'm the Title IX coordinator here at the university, and I am tonight presenting the Voice of Peace and Inclusion Award. This award honors a student, faculty, or staff member who uses their voice to promote inclusion in their personal, professional, and collegiate journey. This person is a thriving inspiration in the realm of inclusivity and is someone that many have heard. Here are the nominees for the Voice of Peace and Inclusion. And the winner is Jer Bryant.
Good evening. I'm Robert Canada, Vice President for Inclusive Excellence. And before I read the description of the Distinguished Diversity Leader Award, I would like to acknowledge the land that our great university stands on with the indigenous tribe, the Monacan tribe. So I'm presenting the Distinguished Diversity Leader Award, which honors a student who is active and committed to the mission to the University of Lynchburg, ensuring that all members of our community are treated in a fair and equitable manner. These are our nominees, and our winner is Miss Alejandra Bonilla. Would you come forward, please?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Claudio Otero III, and I'm the GA of Inclusive Excellence. Today, I have the honor of presenting the Leaving Your Legacy Award. Unlike the other awards, we have 2 recipients for this award. Forgot to bring the other one up. I apologize. This award honors seniors who have exemplified excellent leadership along with service in areas of diversity and inclusion. These outstanding seniors have left their imprint on their peers, faculty, staff, surrounding community, and of the University of Lynchburg. Ooh. Oh, those are the nominees. And the winners are Ms. Laura Ariaza and Mr. Davion Washington Jr. Sorry, I was a little trigger happy. I just pressed the space bar.
Oh my gosh, Claudio. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi. My name is Zori Green. I am the graduate assistant for the Office of Multicultural Services within the Office of Equity and Inclusion, and I am here to announce the Office of Equity and Inclusion Organization of the Year Award. This organization is active in promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, holds promises to their mission statement, and has been devoted to community service. In addition, this organization operates in a cohesiveness with other members of the Office of Equity and Inclusion. And here are the nominees. The winner of the Office of Equity and Inclusion Organization of the Year Award is Hispanic Student Society.
Good evening. Oops. I think I hit something. Help. Thank you. What an honor and a privilege it is for me to present the Helen Mundy Witt Multicultural Award. As the initial winner of this award, and as a friend of our dear Dr. Witt, I intend for it to be my duty every year for as long as I'm around to present her award at our gala. I miss my plus one. Helen has been my date for the gala every year since we began this program, and what a fun date she was. I know that she is with us this evening. I feel her sweet, sweet spirit in this space. We miss you and we love you, Helen. The Helen Mundy Witt Multicultural Award recognizes an individual who has enhanced the culture of inclusion on campus by promoting togetherness, diversity, and respect, and created opportunities for underrepresented populations and/or encouraged positive communication between persons of different backgrounds. This year's recipient indeed meets these qualifications. Says the nominator of our winner, quote, "I believe that this person's unwavering support of the LGBTQIA+ community, BIPOC students, and women all over our campus has proven their dedication to enhancing the culture of inclusion on this campus. Throughout difficult times, such as the pandemic and the 2020 election cycle, this person has established himself as a faculty member who welcomed and facilitated difficult but necessary conversations. Furthermore, this person's commitment to ensuring that all students have equal access to an amazing education is unmatched. When all of campus was sent home due to COVID-19, this person bought and sent books to students to ensure that they would be able to keep up with the curriculum and excel in class. There were not enough words to describe how tenacious this person is in their pursuit of making all their students the best version of themselves they can be. I can think of no other educator at the University of Lynchburg that has shaped the experiences of each student they have had in the way this person has, end quote. I am delighted to announce that the 2021 Helen Mundy Witt Multicultural Award goes to Dr. Cheryl D. Coleman.
So I hope everybody has enjoyed tonight's festivities. I would like to offer one final thank you to everybody involved, the Multicultural Planning Committee, all of our presenters, Dr. Kelly Rainey, the SDLs, because they were a big help in making this happen as well. Dining services and catering, thank you all back there. Can I get a round of applause for them? And can I also get a round of applause for John McCormick here and David Woody right in the back, live streaming for us. All right, and to conclude, I would like to leave you with this. The late John Lewis, former representative, civil rights leader, said in his book, Across That Bridge, A Vision for Change in the Future of America, he said, "Freedom is not a state, it is an act. It is not some enchanted garden perched high on a distant plateau where we can finally sit down and rest. Freedom is the continuous action we all must take, and each generation must do its part to create an even more fair, more just society." This event, the Multicultural Gala, is important to us because it is important to recognize the people in our community for their efforts in promoting and fighting for the efforts of diversity, equity, equality, and inclusion. Just as John Lewis believed in, freedom is not this high place that once we reach it, we sit down. Instead, we must still stand up and continue to fight against systemic racism, police brutality, and all other disenfranchising systems that unfairly target people of minoritized communities, so that one day, this country can be as free as it claims itself to be. So with that, thank you everyone that made this event possible, and I hope everybody who were viewing in the live stream enjoyed it as well, and thank you so much. Everybody have a good night. Thank you, thank you, thank you.